Bloomberg's Caroline Hyde caught up with Tele2 CEO Alison Kirkby earlier in London and started by asking what the secret sauce is to their recent successes.
Secret sauce, being very focused on connectivity. We're a very simple, focused challenger mobile operator, and our mission is to fearlessly liberate our customers to live a more connected life. And so we've been very much just pushing connectivity. For a number of years, we saw that over-the-top consumption would just increase, and we took the opportunity to think about, well, how are we going to monetize that over-the-top connectivity, and that's what we've been very much focused on.
And so the focus has been disrupting certain countries. In particular, you're into the Netherlands in a big way, shaping up new unlimited packages for only €25. How are we seeing people move on to that? Are you managing to draw them from the competitors? Are you sparking any sort of price war here?
Yeah, well, Netherlands is a great example where the consumer has been very, very badly served for many years because pricing has been held very, very high. So versus, the average consumption in Sweden up until recently has been about 4.5 gig per month. Netherlands was less than 1.
Wow.
But since Unlimited has gone into the market, since we've challenged the other MNOs in the market, you've seen consumption increase already in the last year to 2 gig per month. And we think, consumers get a much better experience when they're on 4G networks than they are on Wi-Fi, not just from a speed point of view, but also from a security point of view. So we're very much stimulating demand onto 4G networks, and we believe once you get consumers onto the 4G networks, they stay with you longer, they become more loyal, and that's what we want, just very satisfied customers that stay with us.
And you want them to potentially trade up into bigger and better packages. How do you do that if you're already on an unlimited package, for example?
Well, what you've seen in other markets like Finland, where the average consumption is, I think, 10 or 11 gig per month, is they price behind speed differences, and they took advantage of the transition from 3G to 4G to do that. So there will be, as technologies change, there'll be new ways of offering new opportunities to trade up.
When you look at how Deutsche Telekom, Vodafone, Liberty Global have reacted in Netherlands, for example, how have they? Are they suddenly, like we saw in the US with T-Mobile, prompted everyone else to go to unlimited? Is that something you're seeing? And how do you keep a step ahead of that sort of competition?
Well, what you're seeing is KPN and the Vodafone Liberty merger, they're very much focused on pushing the converged services, the bundle. So they're pushing fixed and mobile and TV, but we're just pushing a very simple, great mobile product. So we're focused much more on the individual rather than the household. And so far that's working for us.
Yeah, why not go for that triple play or quad play mix, though? It seems to have been the golden goose for a lot of the other players, particularly in Europe. Why does it not make financial sense from your point of view?
Well, the consumer doesn't really need it. They only go for it if the operator discounts a part of the service. And the individual is much more connected to the mobile device, whereas the household is connected to the TV and the fixed broadband. So we think it's two very different purchasing behaviours, and we've focused first on the individual and really pushing mobile technologies because we believe we've got the best mobile technologies to push there. We've not invested in our fixed network in the Netherlands, and so we're just pushing mobile for now.
You interestingly said security is a big theme as to why you'd like some of your customers to use 4G more than Wi-Fi, for example. Is security becoming really very prominent in your customer base's minds, particularly as we see hacking, very sadly, become a more regular occurrence?
Absolutely, and we see it very much in our enterprise businesses. Our B2B business in Sweden tends to support all of the big Swedish banks, and they're looking increasingly for us to help them develop products around security. And yes, with GDPR and the new legislation around privacy, the telco operators have a huge responsibility to protect individuals' private information.
Are the regulators getting it as well? Do we think that the right incentives are there to be able to help people become more cyber focused?
It's not an area that the regulator has focused with individuals yet. I think they're putting much more pressure on industries that hold private individuals' information. But increasingly, when the consumer becomes more and more aware of these hacking occasions, then they look to those that hold their information and expect us to treat their information with the highest of standards.
Talking of regulators, of course, we've seen in Sweden some of the top telecoms companies, including yourself, starting to be investigated by the EU. The Competition Commissioner, Margaret Vestager, seems to be everywhere at the moment. How do you deal with that?
Well, you know, we were recently approached under an investigation, and you just accommodate all of the questions and give them all the information you need. And then we sit and wait and see what they come up with. But,
and you're sitting and waiting at the moment, is there?
Yes, no, all of the operators in Sweden were recently visited in April for an investigation, and we had them on our site for 3 or 4 days, and they've fully accommodated all of the questions, and they've taken that back to Brussels, and time will tell once they come back with further questions.
Are you worried about it? Are investors worried about it?
No. We obviously, there's nothing to say that we've done anything wrong. We run our business with the highest of ethical standards. There's nothing to say that the investigation was triggered by any one allegation. You know, sometimes these investigations can be triggered just because they want to do some testing, or they want to test one legal aspect of some of the laws that are out there. We don't know, but time will tell.